As I speak, I'm 2 days beyond the final withdrawal of the all-American combat troops out of Afghanistan after 20 years of combat experience and involvement of American and other coalition troops in that country to eliminate the Taliban, deal with terrorism, all in the wake of what happened in the United States on 9/11 in 2001 with that attack that took place. And now, 20 years later, we've left. The scenes have been tragic. The stories have been essentially that of a folly. I think I've talked about that in a recent BT Daily about what one author calls the March of Folly, and this chapter certainly highlights that, with the abrupt withdrawal of American troops, leaving behind American citizens. Still, quite a number appear to be there of this particular moment, with no support, no protection, and other people as well. America pulled out of its major air base that it had built up over that 20-year period of time, leaving more than $60 billion worth of fighter jets, airplanes, helicopters, weapons, rockets, over $60 billion worth of military equipment to the Taliban. That is more than many nations have in their defense arsenal, all just walked away from and left behind. It is a major tragedy at every dimension that you look at and think about. What do you conclude? What will be the future? There's obviously a reshifting of powers and the way people will perceive the United States. That's going to play out over a period of time. I think one very important point that I have read, we should note and remember, is that America is a less safe place for what has happened there. Terrorism, the war on terrorism still goes, still there. America has enemies. Plots will be hatched. We could see another attack of a 9/11 variety upon American interests or even upon the homeland itself. It is not a very good time to contemplate the future, what might happen there. There are many scriptures to contemplate and think about when you look at the folly, the policies that are done, enacted, and held to over a 20-year period, and then all of a sudden, overnight it seems abandoned. There was one verse that came out that struck me in Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Beginning in verse 5, the author writes, "There is an evil I have seen under the sun, as an error proceeding from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity." Let me repeat that. Folly is set in great dignity, while the rich set in a lowly place. You don't always get to choose your leaders. And at certain moments of history, history tells us some of the unwisest, unqualified people rule over the nations of men. And it concludes in verse 7, "I have seen servants on horses, while princes walk on the ground." In other words, those with the least qualifications, the least ability, the least vision, the least leadership sit on the horse and lead, while others take a lesser position. It is interesting times. It is a time of folly, and as one article that I read said, a period of stupidity. But it is a time to note, and those who are watchful and wakeful should be quite aware. That's BT Daily. Join us next time.